What's up, everyone? This is Fandom Fix, and thank you for tuning in today. We are going to be talking about something that I didn't expect. Andor actually changed my mind. If you followed the show from the beginning, you probably know it's been divisive, grounded, slower, more political. And honestly, I haven't been sold. It never connected to me like the Star Wars I grew up with. No Jedi, no iconic characters, and not much mystery through the ways of the Force. Sure, I love thriller espionage stories like the best of them, but for the most of the show, Andor has felt dragged out to me like we were spending too much time on story beats or characters that didn't matter. So when season 2 premiered, I was apprehensive. Sure, I planned on watching it because it's Star Wars, but I expected more of the same, and I gotta say, season 2 has been more enjoyable for me. But it wasn't until episodes 7 through 9 that my mind started to change. Episode 7 did something we've never really seen in Star Wars before. It gave us an inside look at the everyday lives of the rebels at Yavin. It wasn't just about grand speeches or battles. Instead, we saw the quiet grind of running a rebellion. The tension, the logistics, the personal sacrifices. Everything that kept the rebellion from falling apart. This felt like a direct nod to the Expanded Universe books, especially the way they dove into the behind the scenes life of the rebellion, just like the X Wing novels did. The Rebels TV series touched on this, but episode 7 gave it more weight. This wasn't just some base in the middle of nowhere, it was a hub of stress and survival. These weren't mystical heroes, but regular people trying to hold on to something greater than themselves. The interaction between Cassian and the rest of the rebellion crew showed how isolated and desperate they all felt. For a show that started out so grounded, Andor really drove home the stakes of the rebellion's day to day life, and it made the eventual battle feel more personal and real. But what really intrigued me about episode 7 was the introduction of the Force Healer. I wasn't expecting any Force related moments in Andor. It's a show so focused on politics and the gritty side of the rebellion, and I thought they were steering clear of all the mystical stuff. But the inclusion of the Force sensitive character, especially one who wasn't a Jedi, was a game changer. The healer wasn't there to do any flashy lightsaber battles. She was just a small, quiet moment that resonated with the core of Star Wars. For Cassian, this was a pivotal moment. He's been hardened by the struggles of life, by war, and by betrayal. But in this encounter, you can see the moment he's confronted with the possibility that something larger than himself, something beyond his comprehension, could be at work. For the first time, Cassian is forced to reckon with the spiritual element of the galaxy. This wasn't just a brush with the mystical. It was Cassian's first confrontation with meaning, faith, and ultimately hope. It's the seed of the man we'll meet in Rogue One, someone willing to give his life for a greater cause. This felt like a natural tie to his line from Rogue One. I'm beginning to think the Force and I have different priorities. You see, at different times during the war, Cassian is forced to reckon with the Force and its purpose for his life. Then came Episode 8, which, in my opinion, is the best Andor has delivered so far. The Gorhman Massacre wasn't just brutal, it was a moment that redefined the stakes of this series. We've always known the Empire was evil, but this was a visceral, gut wrenching depiction of how far they would go to maintain control. It wasn't just about stormtroopers being incompetent and missing shots, it was cold, calculated violence, and it hit harder than any other depiction of the Imperial oppression we've seen in Star Wars shows or movies. Watching the citizens of Gorman be massacred with no hope and no chance to fight back felt like we were there with them, helpless and horrified. For the first time, the cost of the Empire's cruelty felt real in a way that resonated with the audience. For Cassian, this massacre pushed him to the point of no return. This wasn't just another political act or skirmish, it was an emotional turning point. The brutality of it, the helplessness of the citizens, forced Cassian to confront something far bigger than himself, the cost of the rebellion. By the end of episode 8, we begin to understand why Cassian dies a hero on Scarif. These aren't just missions, these are his convictions being forged in fire. This massacre is the event that gives the galaxy leverage. It's the moment when people stop doubting the need for resistance, realizing just how far things had gone. Then came episode 9, and for me, this was the most satisfying episode of the series so far. This episode focused on Mon Mothma, and honestly, it was what I've been waiting for since the start. Mon Mothma has always been a fascinating figure in the Star Wars universe, and for me, was the main thing I was excited for to see when Andor was announced, especially as a fan of the expanded universe. An heir to the Empire and other novels, her role in the rebellion was key, and the way that Andor handles her arc here really resonates with that. We see Mon struggle with her position in the Senate, the weight of her words, the constant threat she faces for standing against the Empire. She's been forced to walk a fine line, trying to maintain some semblance of power while secretly opposing Palpatine's rule. But in this episode, we finally see her step fully into the light. This is the moment Mon Mothma risks everything, not just her position, but her life. And she does it with no guarantee anyone will follow her. That's what makes her brave. That's what makes her a rebel. The tension in the Senate scene is incredible. We never know who she can trust, who will protect her, and who might betray her. And when Cassian steps in to save her from the assassins, the stakes couldn't be higher. Cassian's ruthless protection of Mon shows how high the cost of truth telling really is. It's not just about grand ideals, it's about surviving in a system designed to crush you for speaking out. This moment also ties directly to Star Wars Rebels, especially Season 3, Episode 18, where Mon is escorted by the Rebels crew to Yavin. It brings everything full circle. These episodes weren't just standalone moments, they brought Andor directly into the larger Star Wars story. Even though I knew what happens next in the timeline, these episodes finally had me engaged with the show. The Yavin base, the Force, Mon Mothma's speech, Cassian's brutal decisions, they're all part of the puzzle that makes up the rebellion. And let's not forget the connections to Star Wars Rebels and the wide Star Wars lore. The echoes of the past, the cost of the future, it all ties together beautifully. I'm not going to say Andor is my favorite Star Wars project of all time. And if you think that, then completely cool. But for me, the classic characters and stories from the original trilogy will always hold a special place for me. Because of what George set up in the galaxy, Andor has truly had something to flesh out more, and episodes 7 through 9 did so perfectly. I'm looking forward to how the show sticks the landing leading into Rogue One, and if we're lucky, Lucasfilm will give the same care and production quality that Andor has received to their future projects. Let me know in the comments how you felt about episodes 7 through 9. What were your favorite moments, and what do you hope to see next from Star Wars? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss another Star Wars video from us. But until next time, may the Force be with you.